Hello, my name is Samantha. I am 21 years old. I am currently 17 weeks and 3 days pregnant with a beautiful baby boy. I was just diagnosed about 2.5 weeks ago with Hodgkins lymphoma. I'm not very familiar with doing video vlogs, but through the first couple weeks of my journey, I found it very helpful watching others' YouTube videos and watching how they went through their journey and kind of what to expect. Going through this, the one thing I couldn't find much information on was being pregnant going through Hodgkins. I'm hoping maybe one day, I'm not hoping obviously this happens, but maybe one day I'll be able to help another woman out who's going through this, also being pregnant. So I guess the best place to start with my story would be from the beginning. I live in Ohio, and about a year and 6 months ago, I moved to Florida. And while I was living down in Florida about last August, I had went to the emergency room for a panic attack. They had my D-dimer test came up high for blood clotting. They thought maybe I had a blood clot in my lungs. And it came back negative, but they did tell me I had swollen lymph nodes in my chest. They said probably no big deal, sent me on my way. Basically for the next year, I didn't do anything about it. I was too concerned with my anxiety. I really didn't. I'm a swollen lymph nodes. What is that? It'll go away eventually. I had noticed over the last year that neck would swell up here and there, go back down, and it'd be gone for 3 months, come back again. Never really thought anything of it. I found out on July 7th that I was pregnant, and within that month, I started developing lumps. I don't know if you can see them. No. Started developing lumps on the side of my neck, lower neck. They almost felt like hard, bouncy balls. Also, the side of my neck is starting to protrude out. And I didn't know what they were. I told my parents, they're really probably no big deal, but you should go get it checked out. Well, I didn't have any medical insurance at the time, still waiting on coverage for my pregnancy. And sure enough, one day I couldn't take it anymore. I was too afraid that maybe something was going to be harming the baby. I didn't know if I had an infection or something could have been severely wrong. So I decided to go to the emergency room, and there again, I told them about the, swelling in my neck and everything, and they had told me, all right, typical stuff, we'll go get you back there, do blood work, get you checked out. Well, my D-dimer came up high again for some reason, and they're like, all right, we need to give you a CAT scan. And me thinking, well, CAT scan, radiation, not good for pregnancy. They had told me they insured, at that point I was already in my second trimester. They had told me, hey, there's a risk, but it's not that great of a risk. And me and my boyfriend fought through it, and I was like, I can't take the chance of having a blood clot in my lungs. So, again, I got the CAT scan done of just my chest. And sure enough, they came back in the room. No blood clot, but they found a large mass inside of my chest. He came in very honest with me. He told me it could be an infection, but most likely cause was lymphoma. Biggest shocker ever. Never would I have thought in a million years that the word cancer could enter my life or a family member, close friend, let alone myself. Immediately, I had booked an appointment with my primary doctor the next day. And same thing, told me, you know, by the looks of the mass and everything, where it's located, most likely looking at Hodgkins lymphoma. He then sent me over to a specialist. First thing was first, I had to get a biopsy done of the lymph node in my neck. That was done on the 16th of September, so not very long ago. Waited, and I had my oncologist call me on the 23rd of September, and he told me I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, nodular sclerosis. Immediately, I was terrified. First thing I'm thinking about is the concern with my child, my unborn baby. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea. You know, I always thought that chemo wasn't safe during pregnancy, and I've had a few doctors tell me, you know, possibility of, depending on what stage I'm in, possibility of looking at termination. I didn't want to hear it. Not at all. Even though I may not have my child in my arms yet, I am a mother and I will do anything to protect my baby. I had sat down with my oncologist and we had talked about, you know, the options of what I was going to do. And he completely lifted up my spirits, 100%. He told me that because I was in my second trimester, that they wouldn't recommend termination whatsoever, and that he would start me on chemo, and it would be the same chemo he would give everybody else, just maybe a lower dosage. And he was very, very confident that me and my baby would be okay. So basically, for the last few weeks, I've been in and out of the hospital more than I've been there in my whole entire life. I got bone marrow biopsy done. I got ultrasound done of my abdomen. MRI done, also of my abdominal area, because I can't get the PET scans that they would give a normal Hodgkins patient. I just found out on Monday that my MRI came back negative. So positive thing. I'm still waiting on one test result, and that's my bone marrow biopsy, which should be getting a call on that any hour now. But he told me that most likely if it's not in my lower half of my body and if it's not spread, probably not my bone marrow. So right now I'm looking at stage 2A Hodgkins. Next up from there, I start chemo on the 17th. I'm not looking forward to that whatsoever. You know, pregnancy as it is already making me fatigued enough. But now adding this on top of it, it's going to be a struggle. You know, the first 3 days when I first found out, I basically did nothing. I was very, very down about it. How I'm sure majority of people react. I thought it was the end of the world. I honestly did. And over the last couple weeks, I've grown much stronger and much more confident. And this is just a new step in my life. It's just a bump in the road that I have to get over. It's not something I planned. Obviously not, especially while being pregnant. But I'm going to be a strong fighter and do whatever in my possibility to ensure that me and my child are okay. Other than that, I'm just really waiting on to see what's ahead. I really don't know what to expect. I mean, you can only read so much online, and the doctors tell me, well, you're going to lose your hair, you're going to, you're going to feel fatigued, you're going to be nauseous, this and that, I'm not going to know anything until I experience it firsthand. Still a little nervous about the baby. He had basically told me that the placenta acts as a filtering system. So most of those chemicals they put in me aren't going to affect the baby as much. So it's a very positive thing, just very nerve-wracking, knowing that I'm going to be injected with these drugs and they possibly can harm my child. But he doesn't think it's smart to wait any more than a month. But he doesn't want to take the chance of it spreading to stages 3 or 4 because the survival rate will go down 10 to 15%. Other than that, I'm staying very positive. If anyone has any questions for me or would like to know more, I plan on doing more videos as I find more things out and start going through my chemo. As of right now, I just wanted a brief on my whole situation, I guess, and kind of I've only been going through it for 2.5 weeks, so I don't have too much to say about it, but I will put my email address up on my blog, so if anyone has any questions for me or if anyone's going through this and needs any words of advice, I will do the best I can to answer them. And that's about it. And I look forward to doing another video and talking to y'all again. Thank you.